If we have Googled it, we assume it to be true. And that's another paradigm change, where access is easy, but accuracy is difficult. And therefore, a trade-off has to be made between them. The other piece that I want to talk about is, just like we are looking at collaborative and co-creative technologies and philosophies for driving business, we will also have to look at co-creative and collaborative technologies and philosophies for improving security. And let me explain this with an example, which is again a live example. This wasn't very publicized. But about 8 months ago, in an airport in the US, a plane was on the tarmac ready to take off when it was stopped. And security officials got onto the plane, and they very quietly walked up to 4 people in the aircraft, and they just arrested them on the spot, handcuffed them, and took them out. What had happened was that these 4 people had come into the airport. They came in through different entrances. They were never within the same vicinity of each other. They were not physically proximate to each other. They boarded the flight in different sequence. I mean, they were not standing together when they boarded. They boarded in different sequence, and they were not sitting in the same seats. They were sitting, 2 were in business class, 1 was in economy, and 1 was way back in economy. But all the 4 tickets have been purchased with the same credit card. Now, imagine the analytics at play here and the different collaborative pieces which were put in together. The fact that these 4 people had entered the airports at different times and checked it at different times was provided by the airline system. The fact that while they were waiting for the aircraft but were not together was provided by RFIDs on their boarding passes, which showed that in the airport terminals, they were not proximate to each other. The fact that they were not intermingling or even talking to each other was also confirmed by the video analytics of the airport, where these 4 people were traced, and it was found that they were deliberately avoiding each other even when they were standing in a line. But the fact that the tickets were bought on the same credit card flagged off an alert system. Now here is an example of how different discrete pieces of technology are collaborating together to discern what could be a threat, and in this particular case it did turn out to be a major threat. Similarly, the fact that crimes of the future, the frauds of the future, will not be necessarily one-on-one link between cause and effect. What I mean by that is, it will not be essential that the loss that you will suffer in a bank would be initiated because of a fraud that has been facilitated by the process of the bank. That fraud might have been facilitated by a DSA whom you have outsourced the piece of work to, or a third-party contractor who may have allowed access of an individual into your system. So just as we are looking at collaborative mechanisms to safeguard to further our business concerns, we will also have to look at collaborative because you may not even be the target, you may just be collateral damage. The person may not be wanting to target SR, you may just become collateral damage in his quest to go somewhere else. The last piece that I sort of want to leave you with is the essential triad of information security, as they call it, which is CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And a lot of people have constantly confused availability with availability of data, which is backup and LAN servers and all of this. I don't think availability stands for that anymore. Availability stands for your ability to grasp the weak signals which are out there in the environment before your competition can grasp it. And I'll again illustrate this with an example. It's been my experiential belief that your information which leaks to your competition will cause you damage, but it's nothing compared to the damage that your information which does not reach you causes. There is incredible amount of information about you, about your customers, about the customers experiencing your product, which is out there in Google, it's there in websites, it's there in social networking sites about how Scorpio is not doing well or a Bolero is doing better and how people are dissatisfied with a certain service. It's all out there. You don't need market surveys, you don't need Gallup surveys, because these weak signals, they are there in the stratosphere of cloud computing. And yet, time after time, we have seen that, and I'm saying CXOs, not necessarily CIOs, they choose to ignore it. How many times has it happened to you personally? and I'm fairly certain because I get these calls. You have an angry customer who puts something on a blog. Instead of using that as an input, the first directive given to you as CIOs is usko blog se nikalo. Remove him from there. As if by removing that blog, you have removed the underlying problem. And I think that's an incredible opportunity that we've got now to be able to go and discern the weakest of signals earliest, so that before it becomes a strong signal could be losing customers, it could be dissatisfied customers, it could be an opportunity which a smaller firm comes and grasps and literally steals our lunch, if we are able to tap this from an opportunity side. So while it will force us, the cloud computing and collaborative working will force us to look at our security paradigms in a different manner, which is to allow access to actively collaborate, actively engage and give access. It also gives us an opportunity to look at possibilities of discerning the threats and discerning risks way before they actually start manifesting themselves.
I guess a whole host of things, that people will ponder over. But obviously, the one sort of takeaway that I notice is that he's talking about not just the security challenges of collaboration or in all kinds of ways, but that if you have to collaborate on security as well, I don't know what sort of threats that is going to throw up, right? It's just the next level of collaboration because you're looking to collaborate on security as well. Samir, can we go with you?
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to give a bit of a background about myself, not to present my resume, but to talk about, to really tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying. I spent about 16, 17 years in the information risk area. The first 8 years I spent as a security consultant, advising people as to what to do. The next 3 years I spent as a CISO of a large company, trying to do what I told others to do. Okay. After that, I spent 4 years with a venture capitalist as a technology VC, asking and advising people as to how to build companies. And now I am, for the last 1 year, an entrepreneur running a risk management company. So I think I have a situation where I tell people what to do and then figure out, maybe I should do it myself as well. So the thought process I'm coming here from is talking to you about what is that we can do when we talk about these disruptive technologies, collaboration and so on and so forth. And obviously in the next 3 to 4 minutes I'll talk only a few things about that. See, one of the things which I hate about my job, and I love the risk area, I've been working on this for some time, is when I get seen as a deterrent to do things. And we as risk folks are thought that way. I'm sure all of you are very delighted to get these USB discs. Yesterday you got one from Avaya, today we got one from HP. The way you will feel it is great. I have a lot of storage now. The way I feel it is, oh shucks, now you're going to have a lot more data lying around. So it's just a different way of looking at it. I'll give you another example just to change the context a little bit. I've had the fortune of working with a lot of e-governance projects in India. And I am really proud as an Indian in terms of the amazing amount of growth which is happening in e-governance in our country. It's simply phenomenal. But every time these IT secretaries meet me, they say, we like to meet you, but we always are scared what you're going to say. Okay, and that's because, and that's the bad part, that's because they sort of possibly see as deterrents, and that's something which has to definitely change. So talking about e-governance a little bit and talking about the scale, there's a huge amount of activity happening on all states. The SAN, the statewide area networks and SDCs and ACs, there's a humongous amount of activity happening on the e-governance space. Can you guys guess how many unique government websites we have in our country? No.
To scale.
Is that it?
To scale.
Make a guess. Make a guess.
10,000. 500.
How many?
The range is quite a lot here, lakhs to thousands to 500. As of last month, they were 3,826. Okay. it is amazing to see the kind of growth